we are live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Third group of 17 hostages released in Gaza. Fourth exchange anticipated on Monday. US President Joe Biden hopes for extension of Israel-Hamas truce. North Korea vows more satellite launches, beefs up military on border. South Korea says will maintain readiness posture. Rescue operations at Silkyara tunnel in India's Uttarkashi on war footing mode. Vertical drilling underway to rescue workers stranded inside the tunnel. All right, news in detail now. Another group of 17 hostages, including a 4-year American girl, released by Hamas on day 3 of Israel-Hamas truce on Sunday. Israeli military has confirmed that all 17 hostages, including 14 Israeli and 3 foreign nationals, are now in Israel. The hostages had first been transported to the southern Israeli army base in Hatzarim. Simultaneously, Israel freed 39 Palestinian prisoners on the third day of the truce. The International Committee of the Red Cross helped in the successful transfer of the hostages from Gaza. A fourth exchange is anticipated on Monday, marking the final day of the ceasefire. International mediators led by US, Egypt and Qatar are working to extend the ceasefire initiated on last Friday. Unreleased Israeli children and women hostages landed at Israel's Schneider Children's Medical Center on Sunday by helicopter for medical checkups. Doctors said that 9 children and 2 mothers who were released on Sunday were in stable condition and were undergoing medical and emotional evaluation by the dedicated teams.
This event is a national mission, and we are feeling proud and privileged to take care of the returning families, children, and their mothers. Our hearts are with the hostages who remain at the Gaza Strip and their families that are here. We sincerely hope that very soon they will come back home, they will be free again, and live a healthy life as soon as possible.
An Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited inside the Gaza Strip and met with security forces on Sunday. According to his office, Netanyahu spoke with soldiers and commanders and received a security briefing. His visit took place on the third day of a 4-day truce between Israel and Hamas. Earlier, Netanyahu, in communication with US President Joe Biden, offered to extend the ceasefire by an additional day for every 10 hostages released by Hamas.
We are here in the Gaza Strip with the heroic fighters. We make every effort to return our hostages, and eventually we will return them all. We have 3 goals for this war: eliminate Hamas, return all our hostages, and ensure that Gaza will not become a threat to the state of Israel again. I'm here to say to my friends here, to the fighters here, who are telling me the same thing, and I repeat this to you, the citizens of Israel, we will continue until the end, until victory.
All right, for more on this, let's go across to Tel Aviv, where DD India's Sarah Coates is joining us live. Sarah, third group of hostages, including a 4-year-old American girl, they've been released. More prisoners set to be freed in exchange?
Hello there, Avishek. Good afternoon. Well, look, this little girl, her name is Abigail Moore Edan. She is now an orphan. She will have found out this horrific news last night. Upon her release, she'll now be cared for by her grandparents. And look, according to health authorities here in Israel, there's also an 84-year-old woman. She is unstable, in a critical condition. They say that this is because she wasn't given any medicine while she was in captivity. Now, you did mention in that previous soundbite that all of these other children that were released, they are in a good condition. And look, it really depends whether we could see more batches of hostages after this ceasefire ends at 7 a.m. local time tomorrow. We do know that Israel's War Cabinet is once again meeting a little later today to discuss a potential extension of this ceasefire. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal, mediators close to Qatar and close to Egypt are working on a deal, an extra 4 days potentially, which would see elderly men and also a number of other people, including women and children, released, with then potentially the next stage seeing dead bodies, people who've been killed by Hamas or potentially killed by Israeli airstrikes. Their bodies would then be repatriated to Israel. So certainly an ongoing process, a lot of deliberation here in Israel today with Israel's War Cabinet. But this is something that the United States wants. It does want this extra 4 days ceasefire, potentially so they can get more hostages out.
Right. Calls to extend truce grows as captives are being released. And like you said, Egypt, Qatar and the US are pressing for 4-day truce to be extended. But Sarah, Biden and Netanyahu, they agreed to continue working to secure release of all hostages. But two leaders, they acknowledge that the work is not yet done. Fill us in with more details.
Of course. Well, look, what we've been hearing from the Israeli establishment this entire time is its goal is to completely eliminate Hamas. And there was seen as a power move, if you could call it that, last night by Hamas actually releasing this Israeli batch of captives through the northern part of the Gaza Strip. This hadn't been done yet. We saw the Thai captives and this other Russian man. They were released through the Rafah border crossing, which is down in the south of the Gaza Strip. But it just does go to show that Hamas was trying to show that it does still have control of this northern part. But look, you mentioned a little earlier that the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he did pay a visit to troops in the Gaza Strip late yesterday. He said that we will return with full force. We're continuing until the end, until victory. Nothing can stop us. And look, this is exactly what we've been hearing also from the Israeli Defense Minister, Yoav Gallant. He said we will continue with intensity. That's his exact wording there. He said that this military campaign in the Gaza Strip will continue with intensity for at least the next 2 months. And this is also why these residents down in the south have been evacuated. They potentially won't be allowed home until well after Christmas, simply due to the intensity that Israel is prepared to carry out this military campaign with.
Right, Sarah, we'll leave it at that for the time being, but we'll keep taking updates from you. Moving on to our next story. A grandfather of 4-year-old American hostage Abigail thanked US President Joe Biden for his role in bringing her home after more than 50 days in Hamas captivity.
It was wow. I couldn't believe until I saw her. I simply could not believe it. Now I'm a bit more relieved. Not completely relieved, because there's happiness mixed with missing Abigail's parents.
As Hamas releases several hostages, emotional reunions took place in Israel on Sunday as captives who were held by Hamas in Gaza for weeks returned to Israel. Sharon Avigdori and her daughter Noam were freed on Saturday night on the second day of a truce between Israel and Hamas, which saw the release of 13 Israeli hostages and 4 foreign nationals. And after 49 days in Hamas captivity in Gaza, 85-year-old Yafa Adar was embraced by her family in Israel, who is now trying to think together how to help with her recovery. Adar, whose family haven't heard from her since her kidnapping, was part of the first batch of Israeli hostages released from Hamas captivity on Friday under an Israel-Hamas truce deal. Another Israeli-Irish child hostage, Emily Korenberg, also reunited with her sister Natalie Han following her return to Israel on Saturday. Her father, Tom Han, said on Sunday that his daughter has lost weight but was doing better than expected. Emily returned in the second of 4 batches of hostages agreed under an Israel-Hamas truce deal to be released. And the latest 3 Thai hostages released from Gaza are in good health, as per Thailand Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin. The Thailand Prime Minister took to his social media account and said that they are not in need of urgent medical attention. As per Thailand's Foreign Affairs Ministry, 17 Thai hostages have been released after being kidnapped during Hamas raids into Israel in early October and would be brought back to Thailand as soon as possible. Israeli military has released a video on social media site X showing 8 trucks entering Gaza on Sunday. The IDF said 200 trucks entered Gaza on Sunday as coordinated by the aid agencies, 42 of which were loaded with shelter equipment. As part of this aid, some 3,600 tons of tents, blankets and mattresses have been transferred to Gaza ahead of the winter. The IDF further said that over 2,000 trucks have entered Gaza since the start of the conflict, transferring water, food and medical equipment. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier reached Jerusalem on Sunday as part of a 2-day visit on the invitation of Israeli President Isaac Herzog. The German leader reiterated his country's support for Israel's right to defend itself and stressed that the ceasefire was essential for the delivery of humanitarian aid to Gaza. He is scheduled to visit the southern and eastern parts of the country. Also on Tuesday, Steinmeier will travel to Oman for political talks and will also visit Qatar. Tech entrepreneur Elon Musk will meet Israeli President Isaac Herzog on Monday, along with Israelis whose relatives have been held by Hamas in Gaza. Musk's visit coincides with a 4-day truce in an Israeli war with Palestinian Hamas in Gaza, during which 40 of the 240 hostages Israel says have been held by Hamas and have returned to Israel. Israel's media said Musk would also meet Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday. Earlier, Netanyahu met Musk in California on September 18 and urged him to strike a balance between protecting free expression and fighting hate speech after weeks of controversy over anti-Semitic content on X. And in the Gulf of Aden, a U.S. Navy warship saved a commercial tanker from armed individuals, says U.S. officials, identified as Central Park, carrying phosphoric acid. The tanker's attackers weren't disclosed. The incident follows numerous attacks in the Middle Eastern waters due to the conflict between Israel and Hamas. The Liberian-flagged vessel operated by Zodiac Maritime Limited was involved in suspected piracy while crossing international waters near coast of Somalia with multinational crew on board. Britain's Maritime Trade Operations Agency (UKMTO) alerts vessels to be cautious in southwest Aden. Now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Malaysia will allow visa-free entry to citizens from China and India from December 1st, according to Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. Anwar made the announcement late on Sunday and did not say for how long the visa exemption would be applicable. One person died while 12 went missing after a cargo ship carrying salt with 14 crew on board sank off the Greek island of Lesbos. The Comoro-flagged Raptor departed from Egypt and was bound for Istanbul when it issued a distress call early on Sunday. The 2023 Booker Prize has been awarded to the Irish writer Paul Lynch for his novel Prophet Song. Prophet Song tells the story of a family grappling with a terrifying new world in which the democratic norms they are used to begin to disappear. All right, time now for a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Live. North Korea deploys troops, weapons near border after military pact suspended. New Zealand's new government sworn in, Parliament expected to open next week. And US, Britain and other countries ink agreement to make AI secure.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts. We demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
A platform for the developing world, amplifying the voice of the Global South with a focus on the growing economies, resolving the conflicts, showcasing the culture, tradition, heritage and diversity. Watch Voice of the Global South at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. North Korea has deployed soldiers and heavy weapons at guard posts near the border with South Korea following the suspension of a military accord between the countries. It all started when North Korea, as per claims, launched a spy satellite into space last Tuesday. And this prompted Seoul to partially suspend the 2018 Inter-Korean Pact designed to reduce military tensions on the Korean peninsula, saying it would resume surveillance flights along the border. Responding to this move, Pyongyang announced that it was completely withdrawing from the pact. A statement from the Defense Ministry carried by state media KCNA said its forces will not be bound by the agreement and that all military measures will be restored immediately. It added that South Korea would be forced to pay dearly for its decision to withdraw from part of the agreement. And US President Joe Biden has decided against attending the COP28 gathering of world leaders in Dubai this week. This announcement follows an earlier report by the New York Times projecting Biden's absence from the climate-focused meeting. The White House released President Biden's schedule for Thursday, revealing his engagements, including a bilateral meeting with the president of Angola and attendance at the national tree lighting event, highlighting conflicting commitments influencing his decision not to attend the COP28 in Dubai. And New Zealand's new government was sworn in on Monday, with Parliament expected to convene next week to work on new policies, including a new central bank mandate and lifting a ban on oil and gas exploration. New Zealand Governor-General Cindy Kiro swore National Party leader Christopher Luxon in as the country's 42nd Prime Minister, along with ministers of his cabinet at Government House in Wellington. The party signed coalition agreements with Libertarian ACT New Zealand and Populist New Zealand First on Friday, allowing the three parties to form a government, bringing an end to 6 years of left-wing governments in New Zealand. Meanwhile, President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday thanked Ukraine's military for fighting Russian attacks and its rescue services for tackling the consequences of extreme winter weather that he said had deprived about 400 settlements in 10 regions of power. In his nightly video address, Zelensky said relentless, intense battles were ongoing in the eastern regions of Donetsk and Kharkiv, while extremely challenging weather was affecting areas from Kiev region in the north, in fact, to Odisha in the south. In Russian-controlled territory, Oleg Khrushchev, a senior Moscow-installed official, said nearly 500,000 people were without power in Crimea, the peninsula Russia annexed in 2014. The Russian-installed heads of Crimea, of the Black Sea port of Sevastopol and of the part of Kherson region under Moscow's control declared days off for Monday amid reports of high winds, flooded homes and snow-bound roads and damaged buildings. And Russia foiled a barrage of Ukrainian drone and 2 missile attacks on Sunday, At least 24 drones were involved in the Ukrainian attack that targeted Russian regions like Moscow, Tula, Kaluga, Smolensk and Bryansk. A Russian newspaper daily also reported of flights being delayed or cancelled at Moscow's main airports due to the airstrikes. The United States, Britain and more than a dozen other countries on Sunday unveiled what a senior US official described as the first detailed international agreement on how to keep artificial intelligence safe from rogue actors, pushing for companies to create AI systems that are secure by design. In a 20-page document unveiled on Sunday, the 18 countries agreed that companies designing and using AI need to develop and deploy it in a way that keeps customers and the wider public safe from misuse. The agreement is non-binding and carries mostly general recommendations such as monitoring AI systems for abuse, protecting data from tampering and vetting software suppliers. Still, the director of the US Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, Jenny Easterly, said it was important that so many countries put their names to the idea that AI systems needed to put safety first. It seems that the British has a lot to return to almost half of the countries on the planet it amassed its wealth from during its colonial rule. Now, Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis expressed concern over the slow progress in negotiations for the return of the Parthenon sculptures from the British Museum. He stated the need for more advancement in talks as he prepared to meet with British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak this week. The sculptures were removed by British diplomat Lord Elgin in the 19th century, and Mitsotakis is determined to continue pushing for their return. British officials, however, say the works were acquired legally.
This is not a question of returning artifacts whose ownership we question. We feel that these sculptures belong to Greece and that they were essentially stolen. But it's as if I told you that you would cut the Mona Lisa in half, and you would have half of it at the Louvre and half of it at the British Museum. Do you think your viewers would appreciate the beauty of the painting in such a way? Well, this is exactly what happened with the Parthenon sculptures, and that is why we keep lobbying for a deal that would essentially be a partnership between Greece and the British Museum, but which would allow us to return the sculptures to Greece and have people appreciate them in their original setting.
Argentine President-elect Javier Milei extended invitation to Brazil's leader Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva to his December 10 inauguration. In a letter to Brazilian leader, Milei said that he wishes to keep sharing complementary areas with the neighboring countries so both can achieve growth and prosperity, citing their trade and global footprints, marking a shift from his earlier stance during election campaigning. Milei is closer politically and personally to former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro and has invited him to his inauguration. The leader is on an official visit to the US to attend religious and political meetings. Facing a severe economic crisis, Argentina is tied up by a $44 billion loan program from the IMF that has veered off the track. Milei also spoke with IMF Director Kristalina Georgieva last week. China's health ministry has urged local authorities to increase the number of fever clinics as the country grapples with a surge in respiratory illnesses. The spike became a global issue last week when the World Health Organization asked China for more information. Cases among children are appearing especially high in northern areas where hospitals are warning of long waits.
Efforts should be made to increase the number of relevant clinics and treatment areas, appropriately extended service hours, strengthen guarantees of drug supplies, give full play to the role of traditional Chinese medicines, and maximize the capacity of reception and standardization of diagnosis and treatment.
Now back home, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will travel to Dubai, UAE to attend the World Climate Action Summit. PM Modi will be in UAE from 30th November to 1st December for COP28 at the invitation of Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of UAE and ruler of Abu Dhabi. The Conference of Parties provides a unique opportunity to impart momentum for collective action towards combating the shared challenge of climate change. Climate change has been an important priority area of India's G20 presidency, and COP28 will provide an opportunity to take forward the success of Delhi Declaration. Rescue operations is in full swing to evacuate trapped workers at the Silkyara tunnel in northern Indian state of Uttarakhand. 20 meters of vertical drilling has been completed till last night. Manual digging into the debris of the last 12 to 15 meters is also expected to begin by today itself. Principal Secretary to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, P.K. Mishra, Union Home Secretary Ajay Kumar Bhalla and Uttarakhand Chief Secretary S.S. Sandhu arrived at Uttarkashi Silkyara tunnel on Monday to take stock of the ongoing rescue efforts. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami has informed that the auger machine has been taken out completely. He said the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is himself monitoring the rescue operation. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday visited the southern Indian hill shrine of Lord Venkateshwara at Tirumala and offered prayers. The Prime Minister on social media site X said, and I quote, "At the Sri Venkateshwara Swami temple in Tirumala, prayed for the good health, well-being and prosperity of 140 crore Indians," unquote. Guru Nanak Jayanti is being celebrated all over the world on Monday to mark the birth anniversary of the first Guru of Sikhism, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Sikh devotees offer prayers in the Golden Temple as they take a holy dip. Inside water, gurdwaras are lit up as people celebrate the sacred festival. The celebration is notable for its fervent devotion, spiritual gatherings and the recitation of hymns. All right, time now for some sporting action. We'll start with tennis. Italy won the Davis Cup for the second time as an outstanding display by Yannick Sinner secured a straightforward 2-0 victory over Australia on Sunday. After Matteo Arnaldi outlasted Alexei Popyrin in the first singles clash, Sinner thrashed Alex de Minaur 6-3, 6-0. Sinner had saved 3 match points against Novak Djokovic in Saturday's semi-final with Serbia before beating the 24-time Grand Slam champion. He then beat Djokovic again and his partner Miomir Kekmanovic in the doubles with Lorenzo Sonego. Italy's first win was in 1976 in the elite men's team competition. All right, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter and Insta. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.